everyone, thank you for checking out Direct Gaming, the place for gaming discussions and in-depth guides for all things games. If you want the chance to discuss all things gaming live, make sure to hit the sub button and like the video to get notified, and join us every weekend on stream at 7 p.m. Who knows, your question could be shown in the next video. Thanks for checking out the channel, and we hope you enjoy the video. Ghost of Yotei. Yeah, it looks awesome. But hey, not really much of a big shocker if you enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima. After the state of play happened and showed us about 20 minutes of gameplay, give or take, which was really cool. As always, people go online and you're going to see just everyone saying their opinions, which I have to say right now, we're allowed to think whatever you want about this game. But if you see somebody who is, excited about the game, okay, that's fine. If you're not excited for this game, and I have to say this for pretty much every single game I can possibly think of, go play something else. If this isn't for you, that's fine. Go off and play something else. Like, everyone is super happy with Death Stranding 2 right now. I wasn't the biggest fan of Death Stranding 1. Death Stranding 2 doesn't look like it's really doing much for me personally. I'm like, okay, go. Have fun, guys. I'm going to move on and play other games. That's all we're going to do here. So, yeah. Anyway, I want to talk about Ghost of Yotei because it looks really, really fun. And I've been playing a ton of Ghost of Tsushima lately, again, to go back through the story, try to remember certain things. Because, again, I played that game back in, when did Ghost of Tsushima come out? Like 2019, I want to say, or something like that. Maybe it was 2020. I don't remember. But regardless, it's been a while since I've been able to go through and play through the entire game. And luckily, with my PlayStation Portal, I've actually been able to do that. So this is not a plug. It's not a sponsored stream or anything like that. I'm just simply saying, for the people who don't like the PlayStation Portal, there is a reason it actually has sold very well, because it's literally a Wii U, portable controller, essentially, for when people take the TV in your house or anything like that. But regardless, getting off topic here. Ghost of Yotei, we finally got the state of play from PlayStation, which was terribly baited at us during the one beforehand, which overall was a good state of play in my personal opinion, showing off tons of different games and everything. It wasn't the big first party bonanza that I think that everyone likes and everything, but I thought it was a good one. But the thing I hated about it was when they showed us that like 20-second of, hey, Ghost of Yotei, yeah, wait another month and then we will show you what's happening and everything. So wasn't the biggest fan of it, but Ghost of Yotei state of play here. Got 20 minutes of solid gameplay. It was like, I guess technically 19 minutes in total, but a lot of it was some really cool gameplay and everything. Showed off, some pre-order stuff with your typical marketing stuff. I'll say right now, the controller looks fine. The plates are kind of, in my personal opinion. But this right here, yeah, that is badass. I don't care what anyone says. That right there is cool. I love the standoff mode when it came to 1v1 in Ghost of Tsushima. And Ghost of Yotei is like, all right, you know what? We're going to do that. And you get an awesome wolf companion. And we're going to do double teams. Doesn't like that. But again, I'm getting off topic here. Okay, so first off, like I said beforehand, if you are seeing this in video format, I said this at the very beginning of the stream because this is when we're talking about this right now. So by the way, feel free to let any comments come down and we'll talk about this stuff. But if you are one of those people online, and I saw plenty of these saying that this game looks bad, that it looks like a PS3 game, and it doesn't look any different from the PS4 game when Ghost of Tsushima originally launched. First off, get off your phone and watch this on a proper monitor or your 4K TV, which I know a lot of you guys have, because if you have a PlayStation 5 where this game is releasing, you are going to be playing this on a PlayStation 5, not watching it on a compressed YouTube video at 720 or 1080p. So get off of your phones and go watch it in good quality. Because I swear, every comment I've said that has seen that, and then later on they comment later saying, oh, so I just watched this on, my Apple 4K TV, or I watched it on my monitor or whatever. Yeah, it actually looks really, really good. Gee, I wonder why. It's not like YouTube compresses videos or anything. Oh, wait, it totally does. You gotta hit that little gear symbol and increase it to 4K and watch it on a proper screen. Just saying. I'm not saying the game is amazing just based on that, and that you need to go spend $70 to $80 or however much this game is going to cost for you. But to say this game looks crap or there's no differences or anything, that is fundamentally wrong. So, had to get that tangent out of the way because I've seen it way too often online for then people to then come back later and comment and say, I watched it properly the way it's supposed to be, like a little kid kind of kicking at the ground at the rock, being like, I'm sorry I did this. Just go watch it properly, then come back, have a discussion. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And again, visuals don't mean you have to then go out and buy this game day one or anything like that. There is some stuff I'm going to talk about later on that I think are a little worrying based on what they told us in this state of play. But visually, both art, graphics, you name it, this game looks fantastic and shows what happens when you get to just put it onto the PlayStation 5. The same thing that happened with Spider-Man 2 in terms of things like the loading screens and everything like that. It shows what happens with Death Stranding 2, which looks absolutely amazing because they are not putting it on to older hardware. It is only for the PlayStation 5 right now, and eventually it will go to PC as well. And we already know that PCs can crank out more power than the PlayStation 5. So guess what? It's going to look even better depending on what your rig is. So, visually, artistically, and everything, this game looks absolutely amazing. But let's get away from the graphics and the art and everything like that, and let's talk about some of the stuff that a lot of other people are going to think is way more important, which is things like gameplay, story, setting, things like that. So, if you don't know, this game takes place 300 years after Ghost of Tsushima. Jin's story is done, and based on someone who's going through and playing through this, I think this is my third time playing through the game, going back and playing Ghost of Tsushima right now, going through Jin's story, and going through the DLC. There is that DLC, which is also combined with the director's cut of the game if you go out and buy it right now. Like, I think you can get Ghost of Tsushima online, like on Amazon for like $30 or something like that, which is the director's cut, which is also included with the PlayStation 5 version, or if you played on PS4. So I personally, for me, that's still good. I think, heck, even the Steam summer sale right now, there's a Steam summer sale going on. You could probably go see if Ghost of Tsushima is on sale on PC. Probably is, would be my guess. But regardless, this game takes place 300 years afterwards. So if you were hoping for more of Jin's story, sorry to disappoint, but they have come out and said that they're not trying to do sequels to just one character. They're trying to make Ghost of Tsushima, or sorry, I should say the ghost persona of these games, like its own thing. Now, that's not to say that maybe down the road, if Ghost of Yotei has more story to tell, maybe they do create a sequel to that. Or maybe they have Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei comes out, Ghost of Yotei is finished, and then Ghost of something else, because it's based on locations and all that stuff, then maybe that particular game gets a sequel to it. Kind of like a Ragnarok to God of War 2018 type of thing. But in terms of this story and setting, it's 300 years in the future. We are up in northern Japan. Believe it's in Hokkaido. And it's going to be it's going to be very different, obviously, right? Now, this is being kind of touted as a revenge type of story. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen there, because I can't lie that after having just recently played Assassin's Creed Shadows, that one particular little thing, revenge, shocker, I know, Assassin's Creed game and revenge and everything, it happens all the time, right? We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. They're obviously in very different settings. They're in different time periods, for one thing. And motivations are going to be very different, because we do know that obviously someone who is in the Assassin's Creed game, a lot of that is also going to try to tie back into the whole Creed thing, which I think the story took a backseat in terms of the Assassin stuff in Assassin's Creed Shadows. But this is going to be tying also into her past and everything for the main character here. In fact, I believe it's just simply with the press of a button, you can go between present day in the game and also going into her past and everything. And then, like, the landscape and everything is supposedly changing very differently, which is really cool. So I'm all for that. We'll have to wait and see exactly what that ties into gameplay-wise. But so far, looking pretty good. Now, the other thing they talked about, obviously, with the setting is that this is going to be an open world type of game, very similar to Ghost of Tsushima in terms of the fact that it's an open world. But Ghost of Tsushima had both really cool innovations in terms of open world stuff, but at the same time, still had that kind of old school open world, not setting, but essentially how you maneuver around the world. You're opening the map a lot, and obviously Ghost of Tsushima had the whole wind system where you just simply swiped up on the touchpad and the wind would blow in a direction and it would kind of show you your next destination and everything. Unless you selected something differently on the map, then it would blow that way, which is really cool and everything. And then obviously if you see something off in the distance, then you would go off the beaten path and do all this stuff. This game is going to be looking more along the lines of things that we saw in like Elden Ring and other open world games that are not simply just a bunch of checkpoints and a bunch of markers on the map, essentially, at least according to them. We don't have the game yet, so we can't say. But one thing that has me worried, because it's not just this game, it's not even comparing it to Assassin's Creed or anything. We have seen this in a lot of games like this. Anytime we see something along the lines of, you can go out into the open world and conquer anything that you want, however you want to do it, the story always takes a hit. Don't believe me? Look at Elden Ring. Look at Tears of the Kingdom. Look at Ghost of Tsushima. Look at Assassin's Creed Shadows. The story always takes a hit. That's not to say the story is crap or anything. It's not to say that the story is absolutely pure garbage, but it takes a hit from what we know the story could potentially be, because we see it like, we kind of see it there. We're like, oh, this looks like a really cool thing, but it's either disjointed because you technically should have gone over here first to see this part of the story, and then this would have made more sense. But that's not necessarily the case here. And maybe you disagree with me in the comments. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine here. I'm just simply stating my own opinion, saying I am worried about the story based on how they are describing the open world. So if they have found a way that you can explore this open world however you want, but the story itself will not suffer or feel splintered or just in random pieces or anything like that, yeah, I would personally like to see that. So I'm going to hold off to see exactly what's going to happen there. But the story is definitely one part that has me worried. When it comes to the gameplay, though, the big thing that they're changing up, essentially, is that from Ghost of Tsushima, we saw that they had stances where Jin would either raise a sword above his head, have it out in front of him, have it like this, essentially, and those different stances worked against different enemy types, so shields, spears, etc. Whereas in this game, the stances have now been turned to the different weapons you have. So we're talking a spear, we're talking dual blades, we're talking the giant samurai sword, essentially, that she pulls off her back and everything, which is really cool. So we're going to have to wait and see how that feels, because a lot of people were saying like, oh, it was very fluid and everything with the stances that we saw in Tsushima. But now here, it's like you're kind of just pulling a weapon out of nowhere. Well, we know that the big sword is going to be on her back, obviously. And I'm sure visually, maybe you won't see it until you actually switch over to it, but then it just kind of appears or whatever. We'll have to wait and see if that is a concern, if it works really well. I'm inclined to trust the developers here because they've had a really good track record, whether it was Infamous, whether it was the Ghost of Tsushima game, obviously going into this game now, and the games beforehand. For the most part, they've done extremely well for all their games. So I'm inclined to believe that they're going to do pretty well here. Things should change, obviously. We'll have to wait and see, but I think it should be really well. But the gameplay still looks extremely fluid. It's super fun, sneaking around, pulling people in, slicing people up, the whole 9 yards. I cannot wait to play more of this game. Because again, I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now, and it's super fun just to simply play the game still. So if the 2019 or 2020 game is still working out very well, then I'm gonna guess that this one's gonna work out very well too, because it's literally the same team. So, and I'm assuming for the most part, a lot of the same developers from that old game. I say old as it's only 5 years old or 6 years old. It's most likely gonna work out pretty well here. So I'm not particularly too worried about the gameplay. In terms of the character, in terms of like this whole I gotta get revenge type of thing, again, we're going to have to wait and see how well they're going to dive into the character's background. How much are they going to delve into the character themselves? You know, is she only focused on getting revenge throughout the entire thing? Or is it going to start off with your typical, I need to get revenge, but then she slowly starts to see something else appear and everything? I mean, like with Jin, we know that he was simply trying to save his uncle and get the island back and everything. But then he starts to see, the whole like black and white thing with the samurai code and everything really starts to, blend. I mean, he literally becomes the ghost. And at the end of the game, spoiler if you haven't played it, I guess, he and his uncle hash it out essentially, because they're like, the uncle's still stuck in the old ways of the samurai, whereas Jin is like, yeah, actually, I've seen some things and all this kind of stuff. So we're going to have to wait and see exactly what's going to happen there. But again, I think it could be intriguing. Again, this does come back to my big concern, though, with how you're approaching the open world, which can make the story suffer. That I'm still concerned about. Not saying that it's automatically going to happen, it's going to be terrible or anything like that, but we'll have to wait and see. One thing I do think is really cool is the amount of enemy variety that they're having now. I mean, like you just saw in the little trailer there, that the guys are popping out of the snow. People can lose their weapons. You can technically lose your weapons, which is, you know, definitely something you're going to be careful of. So, and you're also going to be switching up into different weapons, fighting certain bosses and everything, like your one-on-one fights and everything. So that I am definitely excited to see what they're going to do here. We know that she's definitely a rogue in terms of not being well liked by a good, decent chunk of the public. And, you know, there's bounty boards and everything. So we're just going to have to see how they handle this. I'm hoping they've looked at other games and been like, okay, this worked, this didn't. How do we put our own unique spin on it? We'll just have to wait and see, though. But overall, I'm super excited when it comes to Ghost of Yotei. I am definitely playing it day one. We're definitely going to have some guys on the channel here, so make sure you follow us over at Direct Gaming. But yeah, I'm excited. And again, if you have watched this on your phone in compressed YouTube formats, please go watch it in proper 4K. Heck, even watch it at 1440p. Go watch it, and then you'll see that it actually does look really good. Again, I know visuals don't mean that the game is just automatically good and everything. You literally just heard me talking about my own personal concerns, what I'm excited about, what I'm concerned about. So, but anyone saying this game looks like crap or it looks bad, just, you're baiting. You are seriously baiting. So nobody give these people their time of day on the internet. Just don't. All right? Have genuine conversations with what's good and what is bad. Okay? But saying this game looks like crap, that's just plain wrong.